The last thing that was on any of our minds was getting the band back together.
I spent a couple of days before I
got the
picked
courage.
up the phone.
I had the information for ages.
Yeah. And then it was getting too much. I'd started not being able to sleep, so I ended up calling.
She didn't even say it on the phone. She tried to make me guess what she was going to say.
She didn't even say she made Nick guess.
She made me guess. She was like that. You know what I'm trying to say, don't you? And I said, I knew. I went, no, tell me. You know what I'm trying to say, don't you? No, tell me. What is it you're trying to say? I can't tell you. I said, well, then I'm not listening. And she said, right, should we get back together as a band? I went, what? She hated it, and I made her say it again. And
I feel like I was there. I feel silly again.
the conversation went from, I remember I was in the kitchen, I was making my son dinner, and I was pottering around like fish fingers and tins of SpaghettiOs, and I was doing my thing, and I had the phone like that, and I remember her being so what are you doing today? And, I'm doing
beating around the bush.
Beating around the bush.
Big old bush.
And then she went,
the boss was busy.
It was their sigh. She went, right, I need to...
my hands were sweating.
And I was like, as soon as I heard that sigh, I thought, oh my God, she's going to ask me to join the band again. I knew it. I knew it from the sigh.
I think because this time around we probably really just want to have a good time and have a laugh. We disbanded because we weren't getting on. It wasn't anything musically. We weren't getting on at that time, but now we're getting on. So it's like, well, why not?
The only doubt I think that ever crossed my mind was because of our friendship. I was so happy to have our friendship back. The friendship meant more to me than the band, more than anything. That's what counted.
When I think about what we did have, we travelled the world. You know, we were really successful, and we really didn't take a step back and look at ourselves and appreciate each other and all that. So what I want is to do it all again.
This feeling.
And this feeling.
Even though the journey seems so far, no matter where you are, I want to be close to you.
On and On was actually, I think, the first track that we went in to record as the band of 2006. And I think it's the most old All Saint sounding one I think we've done out of this new batch.
From where we left off.
From the William Orbit days.
I was pregnant at the time, and that was actually kind of about first verse, because I was coming towards the end of my pregnancy, so probably about the anticipation of going through the whole thing, and kind of the excitement as well, and then twisted into my relationship too. So
I think that from that song we just took it for granted that we could do it again. I think that's they
I think it was just too soon for it to be. I was like, it was just a warm up, and it was like, it works,
and everybody loved it. We were like, oh, okay then.
Yeah, we were just seeing how we sounded like in the studio together after all the years, and it was like, that was one of your favorites.
We rock it so good in the studio when we sing all together. It's so brilliant. We show off, actually. And it's really good. But the only thing is if we're with one of the producers, KG, who is like our fifth member, we can't stop giggling when we're in there together. And that's why I go right one at a time, because we get the giggles, because it becomes silly. And but otherwise,
it's nice. I actually wish we recorded a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
In the same time as four part, because we enjoy doing it, and we can do it. I mean, sometimes it just depends on what producer I think you're working with and how they want to sort of take the vocal. But we did do some stuff like that.
On Chick Fit was a lot of that.
Same, yeah.
Well, Chick Fit, yes.
Well, it's basically the womanly thing that happens to you when you've got a guy and you want to shout about, you want to show off.
Got me obsessing all day.
Whenever he says her name, she gets excited, she freaks out, she thinks she's special, and she just acts like a typical girl would do, hearing a name from somebody that she thinks is amazing.
Because Chick Fit is definitely a girly thing. Isn't
I love
it?
I know, but that having fits in your stomach, and I know that when your stomach's going crazy, and I know that feeling.
I love Chick Fit. It's one of those just blast it and get ready and dance around tracks, and You know,
A lot of
it's-
energy.
Yeah, a lot of
Ballsy.
energy, ballsy drums. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. Definitely.
I just love the way that song makes me feel. I love when that chorus comes in, and I just blast it in my car, and I drive excited.
Boy, you're too hot for me. Can't stop melting away. When I see you, I can't speak. Switching when I see your face.
It could actually be quite a sweet and a bit naff kind of, oh, I love you when you're around. But because you've got the mix with the hard beat and the you know, it's all a bit dark. I love it. I think that's why it works.
Time, space, all over.
One Me and You is sung by Shaznay and me.
I'm here, my feet.
On the track One Me and You, when I was in with Greg, we were messing around quite a while on the chorus.
Changed.
He doesn't just leave it to me. Sometimes he might go, oh, I've got an idea of... He's very into harmonies and loads of different weird and quirky sounds, which is exactly what I'm into. So we work really well together there. So, you know, he would sort of go, oh, I've got an idea of a sound, and he'll run in and just kind of put it down, and then we'd both sort of go back and forth like that. To get the last line actually was probably the hardest bit, because I knew how I wanted to end it, but the way that it kind of, the beat kind of goes a bit longer on the last line wasn't helping with, I couldn't quite fit it in, but then it did, and just perfect that it kind of ended that whole chorus, the way it was going. I don't think I necessarily initially was going to end it as One Me and You, but the way he kind of ended it musically made me able to sort of turn it around and end it like that. It's probably that's one of my favourites. I love the whole sort of Burt Bacharach feel, and you know, it's quite 60s. It's quite I love it. Hell no.
Hell no.
Completely made up song.
No, it's. I mean, again, though, it's general. I mean, I'm sure Shaz hasn't been in that situation, and again, it's just sort of, you know, take an idea and just
Talking about
Running with
life
it.
topics.
Well, it's like when you first get into a relationship with a guy and everything's always right, and then you get used to that and everything kind of dies down a little bit. So when you see that kind of change happen again, you think, how come that didn't happen the whole way through, and it's happening again? And that's when the last time you saw your man like that was when you were first happy and together.
Yeah. Ben, don't do anything unless it's definitely to impress somebody or get some. You know, if you saw a woman, you would go along your daily life just like that. But if you suddenly saw a woman that you liked, you would definitely suddenly change your socks or your underpants the next morning, wouldn't you? Am I right? Yep, our first single, Rocksteady, was actually the first ever song that I wrote with Greg, and it was the first demo that we actually vocaled together when we first went in the studio together.
It's exciting and fun, and it's I love it.
I like it also. And yes, it's very immediate. I think that's why it was chosen to be the first single.
He's on the run, boy, I know I can take it.
The subject of it is quite relevant to, you know, the modern relationship that we all have to deal with at the moment.
The connotation of it, it kind of sounds like it's a girl talking about a guy, but I think my whole twist on it really was that I actually wrote it about the four of us. So yeah, it's me about, you know, the four of us really. And
That's what's special about it. It can be related in any sort of kind
Anyway,
of
yeah.
anyone's head. But yes, that's news to me about that being about us.
You
I was like, oh really? Yeah. So yeah, I like that twist. It's a nice twist.
I got my bags packed, baby, and I'm ready to go. Look at my eyes, rock steady, and I promise you.
I think it's a good opener and a good wait to find out where our heads are now.
On track Fundamental, it's Mel and I on lead vocal.
I've taken every drug to ease my mind.
This is a love for all of the
This
four of us
is-
with our children.
Well, I was like, that is like,
exactly.
That song has such a more of a strong feeling the way I actually feel about my child.
Yeah.
I think the way I feel, especially being
Life
a mother,
in
just
general.
in life, the way I handle everyday things,
Yeah.
just because I'm a mum,
Yeah.
might not have anything to do with doing anything with my child, but my decisions in life,
Yeah.
my morals, the way I am, everything. I still have my wild side, but everything I feel like I'm actually the way my mum was.
Yeah.
Now I understand everything
Yeah.
in my life is the way she used to make me feel, and I think, God, yes,
Yeah.
the everything, the wonderful feelings, the scary feelings, the worry, the everything.
The decisions you make, not just based on yourself.
Yeah.
At all.
I represent him.
We were saying the other day, we are nothing. It's like you kind of go through life, not having to be something, but just to think about yourself, and then you have a child, and at that point it's like, I'm nothing. Forget me. I don't mean anything. I don't count. It's that counts.
But it's a lovely count.
Yeah.
You don't think.
Yeah.
You think it's the best feeling.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling. It's the best. He's made me the best me, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
So I.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm actually addicted to him. It's quite
Yeah.
scary. You'll be going like this to your granddaughter.
Oh.
Way too long you had me in a headlock. Played my head till I was really brainwashed. All those years you tried to really screw with me. Played the perfect son to everyone, even loved by all the family. Fooling everyone around you, boy, but me.
What, Mel? What, Mel? You're my husband. Mel's my husband.
Yes, Headlock.
What goes around has to come on back round.
Give it up.
So come on up while I dish it out, while I dish you what you dished me.
Taste of your own medicine.
Yeah. I've not just drawn from myself. I've drawn from on some of the stuff that I've written. I've drawn from someone or another in the band. You know what I mean? Or a friend, or it's not necessarily me, but this is stuff that I see. These are the phone calls with people that I have. This is the life that is around me. So
We've all been there, so it's something that we can all unanimously relate to. So when we do sing it, I'll think it reminds me of that so and so. We can all always get into it because we've all had that experience.
That to me is like real stuff. It's nice to kind of have
That's
that
how
to sing
women
along
are.
to. Yeah, exactly. It's what women are.
I just think that we've all, at the age that we are now, have experienced lots of relationships, some more than others, and so I think that's the most universal thing we can sort of express ourselves on, really, that we all know quite a bit about, and we're quite strong old women.
I think the four of us are quite ballsy anyway, and I think that there are a lot of songs on this record that are, that do kind of come across like that, but then we're quite feisty in the end, so, and that's pretty much how we are, so yeah.
I think it's music that instead of slitting your wrists, it's empowerment. It's nice to get ready to. It's nice to break up with someone too. It's nice to love someone too. It's nice to have it all. Then just hear kind of wet music.
Give it up.
KG goes way back to the beginning, doesn't he, Mel?
Yeah, he was actually the first person that we, when we were signed to our first record company, he's the first person that Shaz wrote with, ever, like in a writing session. So he's history. He's unfortunate enough to have known us a long time, so we have absolutely no politeness or etiquette with him. He just has to suffer the session.
You looking at me?
What's that flashback? Are you ready for more?
Flashback is basically I have a tendency to kind of say things. I think, oh, I wish I'd never said that, and I was trying to put that down. And I was relating to how I am, and I've learned a lot from it though over the years, and I'm aware, but it's just part of my character, and I just wanted to sing about it.
Natalie, I have to say, she's very prudish. She has that other side to her, which is very fun and very wild. But again, she's very prudish. So, yeah, when we first heard it, we were all like that. And it goes with us, and it goes with that kind of ballsiness.
Tuna Steak, yep, I did that with KG. Again, in the sort of same writing session. And the girls were there. The girls, actually, Nat and Nick helped me with my middle eight and sort of the whole thing. I mean, we were just having a really good vibe during that time. And we were all really happy for Shaz as well, because she was giving birth. And, yeah, that one, it was very short, that bit of it that Carl had played just before Shaz had given birth, and he was playing a lot of backing tracks at the time, and all four of us were sat there going through a lot, and he sort of played just a quick burst of it, and I just remembered it. I wouldn't leave my head. And then we went back into the studio, and I asked him to put it up again, and it just came pretty quickly again.
Hey, oh, ain't got time for your dirty little games. No, don't wanna be a part of your whole grubby freak show.
We called it Tuna Steak for a while because it sounded like Tuna Steak.
Mel's daughter Lily came into the studio and she didn't know the lyrics, but we kept saying, "'Cause you're too nasty." So she thought we were saying tuna steak. What's tuna steak? So that to me, it's tuna steak. That song.
And again, it was funny. I was trying to think of something to write about that I hadn't written about before, and so someone being like weird.
Yes, those days that we do have, in it to win it. Sometimes things happen that really aren't that important, and it's about really putting things into perspective. And life is too short, and all that kind of malarkey. Really, at the end of the day, just put things into perspective, and things aren't that bad after all. Really.
It's working for me. Oh boy, I'm feeling the strain.
I think everybody can feel like it's easy to feel sorry for yourself, but the reality of it is you do have to look at the big picture.
The big picture.
And there's just too much suffering and too much things that humans and everybody has to go through. Then for us, for anybody to think just because you're having a bad day that makes it a terrible and awful thing, or you can't dwell on the bad. You have to pick yourself up and move on, because in reality, whatever we go through in a daily sort of upsets what happen are really nothing compared to the bigger picture.
In the track Scar, which Mel wrote, it is once again, that song is very personal to her.
Mel went through a few things
Yeah,
quite recently, so she just let it out through the song, which was great.
Yeah.
Always hiding, always watching from the shadow.
With Scar and the title, it's actually someone who was obviously a bit of a dunce, it was called ska purely because of the ska influence in the song, and someone wrote it SCAR, so therefore it became that. So there's actually no relation to the song, to anything at all, just a dance in the studio that did that. I just started off with the whole now you're better off inside, and I like the idea of using that, because I like singing the word inside, and I use it quite a lot when I write. And I thought, oh, inside again. I thought, inside, prison, jail, where am I going with this? And that's where I went. That's where I took it. So I didn't do my old usual inside. I went inside.
'Cause in this world, you know there are limits.
That's coming out Mel's way. And that, again, we can all relate to it. And again, it was in with what we were doing, and the music's what we're doing, and it just all, everybody, just, you know...
I think the humour probably in those songs as well. You know, everybody is coming with the way that they're feeling and expressing themselves the way that they are. But I think also the humour has come through just the fact of us being in that working environment together and creating this record. I think probably this has been the flip side to a lot of those sort of...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Those feelings going in, creating those songs. The fact that we're doing it together is sort of the
humorous, brings it out.
Yeah,
brings it out.
Yeah.
Again, then your ass will end up in jail. Tell me what you want. This is what
On the track, Not Easy. It's real life and it's real subjects.
Yeah, it's, you know, the women always compromise. It's just a known thing. It's silly. But, you know, and it is about time the guy does. But also at this stage in our lives, you know, we're not kids anymore. We don't take all the stuff that you learn as you grow with relationships and stuff like that. So it's almost like, you know, now that we're at this stage, I mean, it happens to women our age and older, but it's also when you're kind of connected with yourself. You
know what you want, what you don't want, what you stand for, what you don't stand for.
It's a very important stage.
gotta let me know what you're saying. I'm not really the guessing kind.
That song is more of a lighter outlook on that whole situation. It's not one of the deeper versions of you know, women's scorn thing. It's a lighter kind of happy, good, whistly, lucky one, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, I think people feel these days are quite under pressure to sort of be a certain way and stuff. So sometimes people try and pretend that they're someone that they're not.
It's like Headlock.
Yeah,
it's like same kind of relationship issues where someone takes the pee, which again everybody can relate to, and you know, a lot of guys do with a good woman. You know, a lot of guys do, and I know that for a fact. And I think
every woman knows that for a fact. I think what we've done as 4 women on this record is just, you know, we did on the very first album, we kind of done the same thing in the sense of just spoke about things that women can relate to, basically, and that's kind of like what we've done on this album, and it's very, I like it. Like Nick said earlier, I think we've been really empowering on this album, and I don't want to say that without saying I'm not into that whole girls, women, you know, I'm not that at all, but this is real stuff, it's real life, and it's real subjects.
Yeah.
I think that we have this thing when we're together. It's like it's a magnetism, like of we just have a laugh, and we just bring out this energy. We've got this really weird energy since we're together, and I love it.